Welcome to Mad Props. I am your host, Chris Schnabel, and today we have Debi Derryberry. You may know her as the voice of Draculaura from Monster High and Jimmy Neutron from Jimmy Neutron. She was great enough to join us and talk about her career. We talk a lot about her kids' music. She's a kids musician and a country singer as well. We talk a lot about her music career. We talk about her getting Jimmy Neutron. We talk about her going to conventions and meeting all the fans. You're not going to want to miss any of it. Before we get started, make sure you find us on social media at Mad Props Pod, wherever you get your social media. You can also subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast, wherever you're listening right now. You can subscribe. You can go to YouTube and subscribe, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get it, you can get it there. If you want to find our social media and our full podcast, go to the YouTube and hit subscribe. And oh yeah, by the way, you can also subscribe to us on Discord. If you go there, you get everything that comes out on YouTube, everything that comes out on social. You can join conversations, and we're doing giveaways as well. Stick to the end of this to see what this month's giveaway is. You might have already seen it in the last episode. You can also go to the last episode. But you want to stay right here because Debi Derryberry is coming up on Mad Props right now. Roll them credits. Let's go. Debi, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you being here and really appreciate you joining. I was telling you a little off air. This just now line of voice actors and actresses are now Mad Props. If somebody came to Mad Props, it would be like, you guys are just voice acting. You're a voice acting podcast, but we actually are not. We're just lucky and blessed to have y'all all coming on. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Chris. I'm so happy to be here. And, you know, us voiceover people, we're tight. We're a close group. We all know each other. We love each other. And you're not going to find a lot of, I don't know. We're all pretty humble. We're just really down to earth.
And it really is the thing I've noticed the most. And I've said it now probably on every single one of these, maybe even ones that don't have voice actors and actresses on it. But like the whole community is just so nice and like so down to earth and so willing to get to know you and so willing to like everything. My favorite thing is now that I've had so many of you guys on, I'm able to go to some conventions when they come through or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just get to see the interactions that happen. And they're some of my favorite things to watch because no matter if it's you or anybody else, like every single person that comes up, just all the energy, all the enthusiasm, it's never a burden, which I know some people might be like, well, blah, blah. I've seen people where it's a burden, especially like big time actors that go to these conventions. It's a signature and walk away, signature and walk away.
Yeah.
So it's so nice to see how much energy you guys bring to every single person that comes up to you.
I got to tell you, we are so lucky. I mean, our life, this is my life right here in this room and my little studio there. I'm here all day, every day, and it's a solo act. It didn't used to be. And so when we get to do conventions and see our buddies again, because even when we record, it's one at a time. We don't get to be in studio together, at least not yet. It might come back that way. But doing conventions are when we get to see each other again. And it just, it's nice to be out of our solo little rooms, you know, and meet the people that love the voices that we do. It's really special.
Was that something that changed like when the world shut down, or is that more of something, the way it was going like over time?
You know, it may have gone that way over time, but I think they would have found ways to drag their heels. But when COVID hit, they had to figure it out because they could not have us in the room together. They couldn't have us at the studio. They couldn't sterilize everything. And they couldn't make everyone get vaccinated. So they figured out a number of ways where we can do the records from our booth. But that also made people have to have a studio quality booth, which of course I've always had one for even before COVID. I had my studio quality booth, but so many people did not. And so if a big video game was recording or a cartoon was recording, the companies would buy these huge suitcases and basically pack them with foam and all the pieces, all the kit, so that they could send the kit to someone's house and say, set this up in your closet. That's where we'll record you. And it was like a studio for dummies kind of thing.
Yeah.
And even though I had my home studio, they sent one for a few different games because they wanted their microphone, which is different than my microphone. But it did change everything as far as cartoons, video games, looping even. You know, when you do ADR on a film or a TV show, and there's usually 13 of you in a room together. So many studios they just went ahead and erected 13 different studios, like little cubicles where you'd come in with your mask and get in your booth. And then they'd show you all together, but you'd all be walled in.
Yeah.
It was so crazy. It was crazy, but it did force everybody. You're right. So I do think eventually it would have, but it changed not only the way we can do it, but it changed the speed at which they expect to get these auditions back. You know, back in the day, I might drive to the agent a few times a week and they'd record me there in their studio. You know, I might do 8 or 9 auditions a week. That's like 40. And they'll send them to you and want them in the next day. So it's a whole different world now. And all of us had to learn to wear a lot of different hats. You know, now I can record, I can edit, I can, do my own engineering, and it's harder to do my own engineering on recording sessions, but I can do it. And if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it. It's got to be taxing now then if it's like, here's your 40 auditions, we'll see them tomorrow. And now that's your day. And if you're getting them later, like if you're getting them later in the day or later at night or something like that, like now your whole night is just auditioning all day and night.
They're pretty forgiving. They know if they're going to send out an afternoon batch, it'll rarely be due in the morning. They'll usually give you a day. And for me anyway, I don't know what anybody else's audition load is, but I can get from 3 to 10 a day. And sometimes I'll do them, sometimes I won't. It'll depend. Sometimes they send them to me and the specs will be like, we want a deep voiced gravitas with some huskiness. I'm like, I think this was a bulk send because that's not me. So, I won't do that.
They just found
one.
anybody and they sent it to everybody. They didn't even check the backgrounds.
Yeah. But the agents not only do us voice actors get more auditions, but the agents get so many more auditions too. And how are they supposed to sort through all the clients they have, all the auditions that come in? They can't go through each one and say, oh, Debbie's going to get this one, and this one, because it's all day, every day. So I get that. It's just it's a weirdly changing system, and it's so fast.
Yeah.
And people who want to get into voiceover, their first thing is, let me get my demo. Let me try and get an agent. And I'm like, well, do you have a booth? No. And they don't know how to record either. And that's like putting the cart before the horse. Because when you get an agent, they're going to expect you to be on your game. Like when they send those auditions, they want them turned around at high quality.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just a lot more to even stepping into the world of voiceover and on camera as well, because on camera expects these things called ecocasts, where you audition from home and you have to film yourself and edit yourself, and it takes a long time.
What would you say the learning curve was for you? Because you're talking about you used to go in and audition back when you first started, and now you have to do it all yourself. So how long did it take you to like learn the ropes of recording yourself and editing yourself and sound engineering yourself?
Well, for me, it was a bit gradual because I had it figured out before COVID landed. Luckily, my husband is a software engineer and happens to be
that helps.
Always there where I can go, honey. So he's there to tell me all the things that I could do. But I can't answer that question. I don't know how long it took because it's been so many years and I coach so many people and hold so many people's hands getting into the business and learning how to do this. There's just so many steps to it. And there's not just one software you can use to record your audition. You know, some people only have PCs, so they're not able to use Twisted Wave. But Apple computers or Macs are just, they're so much more voiceover friendly.
Mhm.
And usually Twisted Wave or Adobe Audition or, I mean, GarageBand's okay, but Audacity's free. But there are some different, it's a different skill set for each software. They're kind of all the
Yeah.
same. And some are overkill. I use Adobe Audition and I know how to use it and I hope nothing ever changes because I don't want to learn anything new.
Audition's really good. When I recorded before, when I recorded this podcast before this, it was really like you did a Zoom and you recorded the audio all yourself and all this other stuff. Like it was a lot more complicated. Thanks to Riverside, it's not as complicated anymore. Thank you, technology.
Right.
But I always used Audition as well because Audacity is pretty close, but it's just harder to edit in, I feel like,
It is.
personally.
It's harder to edit. Well, it's free, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
just like any of the other free ones, they're free, they're there, you can use them, but they're not going to have the features of some of these other ones.
It's a few more steps to get to the end. I just got to get there as quick as I can, and Adobe Audition's been very, very good to me.
Yeah.
It's been good.
So you have an interesting career. You still do music, but you did music early on in your career, and you went to UCLA, right?
Yeah.
For pre-med.
Yeah.
That's not what you're doing now, though. So how do you go from that path into music into voice acting?
Well, I've always loved singing, which is why I learned how to play guitar so I could accompany myself. And so I've been playing guitar since I was 9 and singing and writing songs since I was 9. But my dad assured me that that was no way to have a career or make a living. So I decided to be a doctor and go to UCLA and go pre-med. But throughout my college time, I was still singing in coffee houses and busking on the streets of Westwood and singing in the stairwells because it beats me. You know, when you're a musician, you just got to sing and play, and harmonies are just, they light me on fire. I love them. So when I graduated, I applied to med schools, but I realized I didn't want to go. So I wanted to do country music. So, moved to Nashville, decided to be a country singer. And my dad was not really happy, but they were still supportive. So, I was in Nashville for like 3 years and a lot of stuff happened. Nothing musically. Well, that's not true. I did get hired to sing jingles. I became a session singer, but only as a kid's voice. I was 27, 28, but I got hired to sing like a 7-year-old. And then somebody put me in a play, and somebody saw me in this play and put me in a TV show. And I got in the Screen Actors Guild, and then I moved back to LA and got a voice agent. And I didn't even know what voiceover was. And there's a lot more in that story, but if you want, I can go into detail. But in answer to your question, I didn't end up going to medical school, but continued to pursue music until voiceover came along, and I'm still doing music many decades later and still loving it with my country band that I've had for over 20 years called Honey Pig, and with my kids' music. And I have a whole kids YouTube channel called Debi Derryberry Kids, and Little Debbie's on there, and I have, it's spelled different than the snack cake. All my animated videos that go along with the songs are there, and it takes so much time, and I've had to learn about the music business, which is, oh my gosh, I had no idea how detailed the music business is, but I'm always learning and still singing. I think the thing that helped me from my pre-med training was, Jimmy Neutron says a lot of big words, a lot of chemical compounds, and I know what they are. I could say them.
Not like you say them, you know what they are.
Yeah,
You know what
I
you're
know what they
saying on
look
there.
like. I can probably draw them.
That's amazing. So did country singing come first or did the kids songs come first? Did they come around the same time?
Gosh, I think country folk kind of came first, but um, as it happens when you have a kid, you want to sing to them little kid songs. And so I would sing little kid songs to my baby. And I had so many of them, somebody said, why don't you make a cassette of them? um, and then I ended up making my first album of kid songs. But I still love grown-up songs. So I don't know. There wasn't one that came first. To me, it's just good music and good harmonies. And they are separate now. Some of the songs are on both the kids channel and the country band sings them. Like I have this song called Ready for the Rain that is almost ready to be released about Noah's Ark. And Honey Pig, the country band, does it. But then I have a kids version of it. And that'll be released pretty soon. So I don't know. They're always simultaneous.
I've always found it interesting. Like, I think you're the first person I've talked to that's done kids music. So it's an interesting backstory to hear because it is something I've always wondered. I mean, anybody that goes into that music, I would assume doesn't start like, I'm going to write kids songs. There's something that hits you that's like, I think this is a good route to go. So it's interesting to hear that story.
Well, my kid's dad, second husband, told the story called Baby Banana to him. And I thought, well, that's a cute story. I'll write a song about it. So I wrote this song called Baby Banana. And I thought, well, I'll make a kid's album. And Baby Banana was on that album. And I got a publicist. And lo and behold, that song went to #1 on the charts for XM Sirius. And like, wow, well, I should make another kid's album, which I did. And then I made a dedicated Baby Banana album, and then a couple albums still since then, and a bunch of singles. I wrote one last year with Lisa Loeb, who is just wonderful. She does kids music and grown-up music, but we did a song called The Compost Bin, and that's a super fun animated video. So I just have so much fun doing it, and it's the music business of kids music business. Again, when you really get into it, it's a serious business.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The restrictions placed on you by YouTube when you're a kids station you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah,
really hard to monetize. Yeah.
I can only imagine. I was going to say, I bet you it's super hard to monetize that kind of stuff because you're directing it at kids. So it's like the ad revenue stuff is different. Everything's just completely different. And that, I mean, it's hard for, I don't do kids music. I do a podcast. It's hard for me to monetize. I can only imagine doing kids music with just the restrictions alone on that outside of YouTube.
Yeah, it's super restrictive. So that's why it's so fortunate that I do it because I love it.
Yes.
I'm not doing it for the dollar. Although it would be nice someday. Like I have a new release coming out for Itsy Bitsy Spider in English and Spanish. So it's a bilingual Itsy Bitsy Spider, and it's going to hit August 28th. So super excited about that one. And who knows, maybe that'll be the viral. One of them will go viral eventually. And sometimes when something goes viral, then people come aboard and look at the other stuff.
that's why you got to have a back catalog sometimes, because
Yeah.
when you finally get the one that everybody's going to, they're going to check out the rest of the stuff that you have, and that's really where the views start to come in. I've tried to learn YouTube. It changes every single day, so it's tough to
Every day.
really any social media, right? Changes every single day, so you're trying to figure everything out on it. But that is one thing I think since the beginning I've learned is like have a good back catalog and keep it organized. If you're updating your new stuff, update your old stuff. Like if you're putting new stuff in the bio here, put new stuff in the bio there, because people will go back to it and they will check it out to not only just see what you used to have, but also see your progress. Like especially for something like this, like my first episode stinks compared to this. Like
I know what you
not
mean.
Even close. It's not even close.
If you
You're
look
just
at my
building and
first
growing.
animated kids videos, they look so different than the kids videos I'm making now. You just learn as you go, you know? But I don't know. We'll see. I get to do all the things I love. I love voiceover. I love cartoons and video games. I love kids' music. And, even when I'm doing a cartoon or a video game and I'm talking to the engineers or the directors and they have a new baby, I get to share with them my kids' channel. And that, I don't know, it feels good for me to be able to share with them something that I'm passionate about.
What is the age demographic you would say for your kids' music?
Like 0 to 7. If I had to narrow it in, it would be more 2 to 6. But it can be a little wider than that. I know YouTube likes you to really put it in 2 or 3 years. So preschool, I would say.
I don't really know much about that side of YouTube. Like, how narrow do you have to put it? Because I don't, this isn't kids stuff. The stuff I've worked on in my outside work isn't kids stuff. So how narrow and specific do you have to be on each upload that you do?
Well, say you're going to hashtag it. You're going to hashtag it for preschoolers. Well, that limits you right there, right? That puts you at 2 to 5. Or are you going to hashtag it elementary? So, it's, I even forgot what you were asking. But yeah, you have to be very specific, and it does limit it. How specific
do you have to be? Yeah, I was saying, how specific do you have to be in your videos when you upload it because it's a kid's video?
I mean, you can hashtag different ages. Like my album Gotta Go Green, it has songs about electric car and recycling and going green and all kinds of things like that. And that can skew a little bit older. So it does depend on the song. And it turns out that the nursery rhymes do really well. Like if you go on YouTube, I know your listeners don't want to hear about this, but that's
not true. That's not true. Hey, listen, I don't care who else wants to listen. I'm so interested in this right now. So that's all that matters to me.
Google trends on, I know this is crazy, but I Google trends on nursery rhymes. Like, how is Wheels on the Bus compared to Itsy Bitsy Spider? How's Itsy Bitsy compared to Humpty Dumpty? And so which one of those is trending right now is that's when I want to release my version of that song. And there's just so much you can glean from the Google Trends. And that determines like what song I'm going to do next.
It's really the kids trends. That's really what it is you're taking what's trending with kids and then trying to jump on that trend to try to get yours in there. It's just a whole side of the internet I've never even thought about. But when you say it's a serious business, anything that's going to make any sort of money is going to have serious business behind it. So I could totally see all of the semantics you probably have to go through to release, all the things you have to go through to do all that stuff. Do you get to perform this stuff live at all?
I did tour for a few years. I was doing like all the Barnes and Nobles, little kids stores. When I'd release an album, I had a whole show. But I don't want to perform anymore with the kids' music, which is why I created Little Debbie so she can perform on the videos. Because right now, I'm really enjoying my life with my husband and I are traveling a lot and, I'm working so much and, I don't really have the energy to go do live concerts. So no, not anymore. But I did for a long time, and it was super fun. Sometimes for friends, I'll sit down with my guitar and we'll do a little circle time. But
Nice.
for the most part, my live performances are reserved for Honey Pig, which is my country band.
Yes.
And it's like that too. I love sharing all my music with all the voiceover stuff. And who knows, maybe one of my cartoons one of these days will use my music in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, do you when you get either video game or voice acting roles, do you get a lot of singing moments because you can sing? Like, is that ever in the description?
Sometimes when you audition, they need to make sure you can sing before you can get the job. Like I was at Disney yesterday with a project I can't talk about, but it was a singing gig, and that was loads of fun. And as a voice actor, you have to be able to sing in the character you're in. So is it a baby singing? Is it like an evil little gerbil singing, or an old lady singing? Or so they usually let you know up front if there is singing involved. Otherwise, of course, the poor music coordinator or engineer has to be, auto-tuning you all over the place. It's nice to be able to sing.
It's happened before. And that redacted movie, it really narrows it down. The Disney movie where you sing narrows it down. It could be any of them. Literally any Disney movie that you sing in. So how do you get from music to acting then? Where does that transition happen, and what made you want to go in that direction after going to Nashville and starting the music career?
Well, I've been acting on stage. I started when I was 8 years old. So I was doing community theater up until high school when I was really into the drama department. And then even when I went to UCLA, I was still in the theater department at UCLA. And so I've always had acting and theater and stage training. And when I moved to Nashville, I started doing on-camera commercials. Mostly as things like elves and dressed up robots. Because I've done a lot of jobs where I'm dressed up as other things. Because you can't tell from this, but I'm 4'10" and I'm 100 pounds, so I'm really little. I'm the size of a 12-year-old boy. In fact, I'm going to digress here, but do you remember a movie called Free Willy?
I do.
Because I'm a scuba diver.
Yes. Funny enough, what you're about to mention was in my notes, but I'm going to let you do it.
So I was back in LA and somebody said, "Hey, Debbie, they're looking for a body stunt double for a little boy in this movie about a whale." And they needed to be a certified scuba diver, and I've been certified since '83. That's a long time I've been diving. So this is a picture of me in Free Willy riding the whale with the hair they sewed on my head, like many years ago, 35 years ago, 40 years ago. Anyway, whenever you see the boy on the whale, it's really me. When the boy drowns, it's me. And
you're the boy that drowns.
Yes, it was super fun. Although, caveat, I do not believe in mammals in captivity. I would not take the job today. I think it's a horrible thing to do to a free living creature. Back then, we weren't so aware of this, but now we are.
Things change, and now you understand what really goes on behind the scenes. And
yes. I mean, if an animal is sick and needs to be rehabilitated, nursed back to health, then I get some human interaction.
Yes. But taking them out of the water to do tricks is probably not the best way to do it. It's probably not the way you want to do that. So.
Right. So many of us voice actors are singers. There are but a handful that aren't singers. Most of us are, which is really interesting to me. So it's like, what came first, chicken or the egg? Are you a singer? Are you an actor? It's voice acting is acting with the mic. Singing is acting with the mic. So they're very closely related. And I had all this acting stage training and some on-camera training. And it just all kind of came together when I found out that voiceover was a thing, that I could even audition for cartoons. I mean, when I moved back to LA and got a voice agent, I was booking within 2 weeks. I had booked my first series. And that was over 30 years ago. And I've been working constantly ever since. So I am so lucky. I want to say I found the right place for me, just like, so many people, you included, have found something that works for you that you love to do.
Yeah, my redacted job.
Yes. And if you look, I mean, you can show this also, but this is some of the many characters I voiced. And this is just some of them. There's so many, and there's always more and more. So I only print a few of these at a time because there's always more coming.
It's always updating. It's constantly updating.
Very much.
Which character that you have done, when someone comes up to you, do you maybe not forget you've done, or maybe you do forget you've done, or like who's the most surprising person that comes up, like they come up and say, I love this character?
One of them is this little guy called Tad from the Talking Words Factory. So long ago, but he taught so many kids their ABCs and how to read. And these people are, grown up now, and they're like, it just sparks them. And then, of course, Draculaura, I expect people to be excited about her. She's one of the Monster High girls. And so interesting. People come, how like when you smell something and it reminds you like, oh, that smells like grandma's house.
Yes.
And the sense memory between things. Well, there's this audio memory. So when you hear the voice of a cartoon character that was so near and dear to your heart, emotions just well up. And when people come to my table, and let me grab this doll right here. And I do the voice of Draculaura for them because I'm Draculaura on Monster High, the original one, and I talk like her. People break down in tears and they start shaking and crying, and I carry Kleenex with me to the table because I have to give Kleenex to so many people because they break down, and I hold them and hug them and they shake and cry, and it's just, it's kind of a responsibility. I feel like I love them and they love Draculaura, and it's so crazy, isn't it? When something makes your emotions come to the surface and they just pop out of your eyeballs in tears, or makes your mouth water for grandma's fried chicken.
Yeah. It's like there's so many people that could be at a convention or wherever you want to, but like certain voices. Like I'll use you as an example. If I was at a convention and I heard Jimmy Neutron's voice, I'd almost break my neck whipping around to see where that came from. Like
they always want, do it, go to blast. And they'll want a recording or something of me saying, oh, I'll meet you at the candy bar. Yeah, I'll see you there. Carl and Sheen and I are going to get on my hovercraft, and we'll see you in the lab in a few minutes. And people love hearing it. It just all, they look at me and they're like, what? Is that coming out of you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I was walking and I heard that, it would snap the way I'm looking. By the way, just a fun fact about Mad Props: we've now had Jimmy Neutron and Carl Weezer on the same.
That's
same
right.
show.
You had Rob Paulson on the show.
We had Rob Paulson as well. I just thought about when you said Carl.
My dear Rob.
It's amazing. That's amazing.
We're at conventions together a lot, and people love to come and get there are these things called Funko Pops. I think.
Yes.
Do you have one there?
Yes.
And people love to get their collectibles signed. We just have so much fun at conventions together.
The Funko Pops are to me, they look just strange, but like they're such a good idea because of things like this, right? Like there's a Funko Pop for everything. Like every single thing has a Funko Pop.
I know. I'm looking
it's
up
crazy.
at my Funkos. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I have 8 Funko Pops. I mean, people have a lot more, but it seems like a lot to me.
Yeah, I had a bunch of. It was one of those things. Like I like collecting things.
Yeah.
I was never really into the Funko Pops, but because people knew I'm honestly one of the easiest people to gift in the world.
Oh,
Like
really?
I love cartoons, I love Nintendo, Mario, and I love Spider-Man. So like you pick one of those three, I'm a very easy person to gift. But at one point, because Funkos were so big, everyone just assumed I collect Funko Pops. So they'd be like, "Here's a BoJack Horseman Funko Pop." I'd be like, "Oh, thanks. Like I don't know what to do with this because I don't collect these. I still
Right.
have them. I still have them somewhere." But they were just so it's such a good idea. It really is because you can get anybody, any character, and then
Yeah.
you go to something like this, and you can have all the characters from a show, and you can have go up to the people with your Funkos. Whoever came up with it, that was $1 million idea for sure.
So many people come up at cons and they're like, how do I get into voiceover? So it happened so much that I wrote this book called Voiceover 101, How to Succeed as a Voice Actor. And it's on Amazon. And I just put everything I know down in it. And then I also, it's super hard to explain like how to bark like a dog or how to vomit on the microphone. So I had these little QR codes and they're little movies that people can go to and I can show them how to do it. Because it's hard to describe in words how to do certain things.
Yeah. No, it's really, really smart.
I wrote it, and I'm not trying to hawk my book right now. I wrote it because
Please do.
I want people to have a clear understanding of what I know. Like they're like, give me some advice on voiceover. Well, everything's here. It's a really quick read, and it'll kind of give you an overview so that when you start studying voiceover, which if you want to get into voiceover, it's not just, I'm doing it.
It's not just talking into a mic. Yeah, it's not just talking into a mic. And the best part about getting a book on it rather than just coming up and asking is if you say you were to explain it to everybody, you're not going to remember everything. Like in the book, everything's right there. You're never going to forget something. And sometimes you forget something important. And then it's like, well, I didn't know that one going in. Guess what? It's all right there. And the QR code thing is genius, having the QR code, because especially, and I'm not a voice actor, but especially in voice acting, I can only imagine some of the things you're trying to convey, you can't just write down. Like you have to actually physically see it to understand what's going on.
Like to teach someone how to vomit, it's like, I give you steps. You give a couple coughs. Well, first you do the cat hairball, which is the, and then the cough. And then and you have water in your mouth, and then the tongue out vomit thing. And you kind of string it all together, like, and it makes it sound like a nice vomit. It can be really rich.
Should have put a viewer discretion on there before we started that.
Sorry, no holds barred here.
No holds barred. No, if you made it to that, you're gonna love it because I was listening. I was like, wow, that's unbelievably authentic sounding. I'm gonna have to hold back, or you're gonna see real vomit on microphone. So, that was fantastic. Before I let you go, I do want to ask because Jimmy Neutron is one of my favorite characters, one of my favorite TV shows. Grew up on Jimmy Neutron. So how'd you get that role? How'd you get into that role? Did you start with when it was Johnny Quasar and then move all the way through? So how does that become
this was like way back before we had home studios, back before cell phones. So we had beepers. We had these little things that were called pagers, beepers. And your agent would beep you. And you'd pull over to a payphone and you'd call your agent. They'd say, you have an audition at Bell Sound. Go over there at 4:00. So this was before GPS. So we'd have our Thomas guide and we'd figure out how to get there. And when I walked into the studio to audition, there were the sides, which is the script, and the sign-in sheet. And I was not comfortable doing little boys' voices. I was more comfortable with little girl voices because that's what I had been doing all this time. And that felt right to me. And I saw all the people who had auditioned, and I'm like, these people have gravel and texture, and they talk like this, and I can't do that. So I gave it my best version of a little boy with no gravel, and I was so lucky John Davis picked me. And it was just a little pilot then, just a Johnny Quasar. And you never know what pilot is going to go. And it just so happened that this one, they made a couple interstitials, and it was the first CGI that people had ever seen in a cartoon.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon went bonkers and was like, well, let's do a movie, and then let's do a series. And then there was all the commercials, and I didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. I didn't know it'd have legs. Like, we just did a 25-year screening at the AMC Burbank, and it sold out in just a day. It was sold out, and the whole cast came, and the movie holds up. It's been 25 years, it still holds up. So that's how that happened, and I'm just very grateful that I got to be Jimmy Neutron, or I still get to be Jimmy Neutron. Fingers crossed they'll still do more, because me and Carl, Rob Paulson, and the whole gang want to still do it. You know, rest in peace, our Jeff Garcia, who's no longer with us, played Sheen. But hopefully we can continue and do some more Jimmy Neutron.
I remember seeing Jimmy Neutron in theaters and was automatically hooked, and have watched it again as an adult. So if anybody's out there wondering, yes, I'm big in animation, so I watch a lot of things again as an adult, but I have gone back and watched that as an adult. Thank you so much. You can find her book, you can find her YouTube, you can find everything that you're looking for, upcoming convention dates, all in the description below. So if you're listening, go to the description, find all that. Debi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Debi, for being here. Thank you all for listening. As promised, this month's giveaway is a Rob Paulson signed Mad Props thumbnail. It says, "Hello, Props," with Mad Props on there right there. This is this month's giveaway. You can only get it if you join the Discord. So go to the link in the description and join the Discord. Make sure you follow us at Mad Props Pod wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts as well. I think I said podcast before. Mad Props Pod on social media. Mad Props Podcast wherever you get your podcast. Go subscribe on both of those. Give us 5 stars. Give us some likes. All that stuff's to keep it going up the algorithm, getting more people going. You know how it works. Go ahead and do it. Thank you guys all for being here. We really appreciate you being here. We will see you next week. This has been Mad Props. Deuces. See you later.